All right. Moving forward. So the showdown that is coming between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton could be decided, of course, by the undecideds, right? But there are some new numbers out there that give optimism to the Trump campaign when you read some of these interesting tea leaves here. This is a front page Wall Street Journal story today that this comes from. And the poll found that 13% of all voters right now say they are still unsure of whom they will support. Far higher than that number was at this time 4 years ago. And take a look at this. Among the undecideds, 48% favor a Republican-controlled Congress, hinting that these could be possible Trump people, although perhaps they want a split ticket and could go the other way. Joining me now, Ed Rollins, former campaign manager for Ronald Reagan and chief strategist for Great America PAC, which supports Donald Trump, and Joe Trippi, former Howard Dean campaign manager and Fox News contributor. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to have both of you here. So, some interesting findings here in the Wall Street Journal. Joe, let me start with you. What do you make of it?
It's going to be a close election. Those undecideds are going to decide things. I wouldn't read too much into the Republican, the group that wants a Republican Congress. They're clearly having trouble deciding to go to Donald Trump already. If anything, that would actually worry me if I were the Trump side of things. These are people who are sort of leaning in the Republican direction, want a Republican Congress, but for some reason can't make it to him, even with all of Hillary Clinton's problems that the GOP has been, attacking her on. So, and some of them self-created. So I'm not sure you can read too much into those poll results right now.
Ed, what do you make of them?
Well, first of all, these voters don't like either candidate. You have 79%, meaning these undecided, 79% don't like either one or have an unfavorable opinion of them. So in the course of the campaign, you've got to convert them, and that's what I think can happen. Unfortunately, most people know these two candidates pretty well, and they haven't made the sale yet. I think there's going to be a lot later voters. It used to be a lot of switching in the sense that sometimes you'd vote for president and go down and vote for a different congressional senator or gubernatorial candidate. That's pretty much out of the game today. So unless Trump can get 93, 92% of the Republicans, which is a little short of today.
Well, these latest numbers, though, show that he's climbing in his support among Republicans. He was at 70-something. Now he's at 83%. Right. So he's convincing some of them.
He's bringing them home, and I think to a certain extent that's what he needs to do. If he stays where he is today, then it gets real hard. But my sense is in the course of this campaign, she's becoming more and more unacceptable. Obviously, the debate will have a big impact, and I think to a certain extent that's still a play out. Normally, the election is pretty much decided by this period in time. It's not decided here.
Here's another thing in this article that I found really interesting, Joe. It said that generally undecided voters tend to be from a lower income level group and a lower education group. However, this time around, they're from a higher income, higher education level group, and they are suburban voters and metropolitan communities who are the undecideds. So what do you make of that?
Well, as somebody who runs a campaign, what you look is what are people like them already doing? In other words, so white, college-educated voters are, for the first time, giving Hillary a majority, not the Republican, which is what they tend to do, what they've always done, frankly. It's the first time a Democrat's ever led with them. When you look at that, and then you say, well, that's what makes up the undecided pool, that's not a good sign for Trump either. I mean, I understand what Ed is saying, and I agree with him. But there are, when you look deep underneath these numbers, there are some things that would really concern me. She's doing very well with that group. It's logical that they would break more like people who've already made up their minds have broken.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the temperament issue, it would appear, for a lot of these undecided voters, because you would think, Ed, that most of them have made up their mind about how they feel about Hillary Clinton. But maybe perhaps a lot of them are on the fence about whether or not they're going to get off the couch and leave their house and go down to the polling place and pull the lever for Donald Trump.
I think they will. At the end of the day, you've got a significant number of voters who say today, I'm for one of the other two candidates in this race. I don't think either the Green Party or Johnson are going to hold up They're not going to be in the debates. They don't have the resources to be there all the way. So they're basically at over 10% of the vote today. I think that'll diminish as time goes on. And I think it really will be down to a traditional Republican versus Democrat. And obviously, you got to get your own base out. You got to get better than 90%. You got to win a majority of the independents to win.
Quick soundbite here from Donald Trump on the debate issue. Let's play that.
Yeah, sure. I'm prepping. I'm maybe not in the traditional way. When I had the debates, I had 11 debates with as you know, in the primaries. And I was very satisfied. Everybody else was very satisfied with the way I did. And I think I'm working the same way I did there.
Any mock debates?
Haven't thought about it much. It could happen, but haven't really given it much thought.
Joe?
Look, I actually think I think they're going to be huge audiences to watch them, but I'm not sure that they're going to change much. I mean, I think you can have a mistake. That always can be a moment that changes things. But I think a ton of people are going to be watching and cheering I mean, what happens in a lot of these debates is everybody tunes in and cheers for their candidate. And
but
I'm not sure there's enough
13% of the people don't know who their candidate is.
Yeah, and I think, as Ed pointed out, they don't like either one of them. I'm not sure debate performance is going to change much of that, except for a mistake on either one of their parts. I mean, I think that could be the big moment. We saw that with Gerald Ford. I mean, all kinds of debate moments have tended, except for Reagan, have tended to be mistakes. Reagan was one of the few that I think had some really positive moments that he created.
Trump is an entertainer, and at the end of the day, he's very experienced at that front. And my sense is he can't make a big mistake, and he can't basically be offensive to her. But I think most people who are for him are going to be for him at the end of the night. He may make converts.
More to come on this topic. Thanks, you guys.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Good to be with you.